English Podcast, Conversation Practice for Beginners.
I had a student once. She had studied English for almost 2 years. Classes, apps, everything. And then she traveled to the US, walked into a coffee shop, and completely froze. Couldn't order, just pointed at the menu and said, "This one."
Ouch. That's painful. What went wrong?
She was studying English, but she wasn't living with English. There's a big difference. And the fix wasn't more study time. It was a completely different kind of routine. Actually, Mike, if I asked you to describe your day today in English, could you do it?
Probably not without a lot of hesitation.
That's exactly what this episode is for. A simple 5-step routine that trains your brain to actually use English, not just recognize it. And later, I'll tell you which step is the one most people skip and why that's the biggest mistake.
Oh, one thing before we start. If you found this, subscribe. You're going to want more of this.
Okay, step 1. And this one happens before you even leave the house. So, Mike, today we're talking about routines, specifically how people try to learn English. And I want to start with something I see all the time. Okay, I'm listening. Most people, when they decide to get serious about English, they start with a big plan. 1 hour every day, an app in the morning, a video at night, grammar on the weekends.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like something I would do.
Have you ever actually done something like that? Doesn't have to be English. Anything.
Oh, absolutely. I tried to learn Spanish a couple of years ago. Full commitment. Downloaded 3 apps, bought a notebook, blocked time in my calendar, actual calendar events, Spanish study, 7 p.m.
And how long did that last?
2 weeks, maybe 2.5, if I'm being generous. And then one day I just didn't do it. Felt guilty. Avoided the whole thing after that.
Okay, hold that thought.
Already nervous.
Second situation. You're making coffee in the morning, getting ready, and you put on a podcast in English or a YouTube video. It's playing in the background while you do your thing.
Yeah, I do that almost every day.
When it's over, how much do you actually remember?
Honestly, a few words maybe. A phrase if something really stands out. But most of it, I couldn't tell you what they talked about.
But it still feels like you did something.
Yeah, like it should be counting for something.
Keep that one in mind, too. Okay, last one. Mike, if I asked you right now to just talk out loud in English, alone, describe what you did this morning, would you do it?
Like talking to no one?
Talking to yourself, out loud.
That feels weird. Like, who am I performing for?
And so most people don't do it. They think, I'll practice when I have someone to talk to, when I'm more ready.
Yeah, that makes sense, though. You want to feel prepared before you use it.
Hold that thought.
You keep saying that.
Because I keep meaning it. Okay, so we've got 3 things on the table. The big plan that burns out fast, the background listening, and the speaking practice that keeps getting postponed.
When you put it like that, yeah.
Let's look at each one a little closer. Okay, let's go back to those 3 situations because I think there's something connecting all of them.
What do you mean?
Let's start with the Spanish story. Big plan, calendar blocked, notebook ready. Why did you build it like that?
Because that's how you take something seriously. You commit. You make time for it.
Right. And that logic makes sense. The problem is that kind of routine only works when motivation is high, and motivation doesn't stay high.
Yeah, the moment it dropped, everything dropped with it.
Exactly. Now, background listening. Podcast on while you make breakfast. Why does that feel like studying?
Because the English is happening. You're hearing it.
You're hearing it, but are you processing it?
Probably not.
Right. Hearing and processing are different things. And when your brain is doing two things at once, it picks one. Usually not the podcast.
So it feels productive, but not much is actually sticking.
Not much, no. And the speaking one, waiting until you feel ready, that seems responsible, right?
Yeah, you want to be at a certain level before you try.
But here's the thing. That level only comes from speaking, so you end up waiting for something that only happens if you stop waiting.
That's kind of a trap.
It is, and this is where most people go wrong. Not because they're lazy, not because their English is bad. The approach itself has a problem built into it, and it's the same problem in all three cases.
What's the problem?
That's exactly what we need to talk about next. Okay, so here's the real problem, and it's not what most people think. The truth is, it's not about motivation, it's not about discipline, it's not even about the English. It's about how people think about learning in the first place.
What do you mean?
Most people treat English like a separate task, something that needs its own time, its own energy, its own mental block in the day. Like, I will now stop my life and go learn English.
And that's not sustainable.
It's not. And that's exactly why that student froze in the coffee shop. 2 years of stopping her life to study English, but the moment she needed it, in a real situation, under real pressure, it wasn't there. Because it had never been part of her life, just part of her schedule.
That's a big difference.
I had a student in my ESL class, motivated, showed up every week, really wanted to improve. But every few weeks he'd come in frustrated. One week, I studied every day. Next week, I couldn't find the time. So one day I asked him, "Walk me through your morning. Just tell me what you do." He said, "Wake up, make coffee, check my phone, get dressed, drive to work." I said, "Which one of those could have English in it?"
Oh.
He looked at me, and then he said, "All of them."
So the time was already there, he just wasn't seeing it.
He was waiting for a block of time that felt like studying, but that block never feels like the right moment, so it keeps getting pushed.
Wait, so with the Spanish thing, the problem wasn't that I didn't try hard enough. It was that I built it like an event, and events need the right moment. Habits don't.
An event needs motivation every time. A habit just runs.
And that changes everything about those three situations.
Now go back to them. Same scenes, but look at them with this in mind.
Yeah, they look completely different now.
You know, this is actually why I put together something for my students a while back. Because this exact problem kept coming up. People building routines, improving their English, and then freezing the moment they had to use it in a real situation. Airport, hotel, restaurant, pharmacy, real life. So I created a guide. Practical phrases for exactly those moments. Not theory, the actual sentences you need when you're standing at a check-in counter or trying to explain something at a pharmacy abroad.
I remember you mentioning a student who used it before a trip and said it was the first time she didn't feel like she needed a translator next to her the whole time.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's for. The link is in the description. First one down there.
All right, those three situations.
Let's look at them again. Okay, same 3 situations. Let's go back. First one, the big plan. Apps, notebook, calendar events. You built it like an event. What would it look like if you built it like a habit instead?
So instead of 1 hour every day at 7 p.m., something like listen to something in English while I make coffee. Done. That's it.
That's it. 5 minutes. Already attached to something you do anyway. The coffee happens whether you're motivated or not. And now the English happens with it.
So the trigger isn't willpower, it's the coffee.
Exactly. That's what makes it stick. When you built the Spanish routine around motivation, it worked for 2 weeks until the motivation dropped. When you build it around something that already happens, motivation doesn't even need to show up.
That actually feels much easier. Not because it's less serious, because it's more realistic.
Now, background listening. Same situation, podcast on while you make breakfast. What changes?
I actually pay attention. Like, I pick one moment and I actually listen, not do 3 other things at the same time.
Right. And while you're listening, you're not trying to understand every word. You're just trying to catch the idea. What's the main point? What's the feeling of the sentence? That's active listening. You do that for 10 minutes, and it's worth more than an hour of noise in the background.
So it's not longer, it's just more intentional.
Pick up 1 or 2 phrases. Notice how something was said. That's it. Your brain is actually processing now, not just hearing.
Before, I was doing the thing that felt productive. Now I'm doing the thing that actually is.
Now, speaking of loan, earlier you said it felt weird, like you were performing for no one. What do you think now?
I think I was waiting to feel ready, and that readiness was never going to come from not speaking.
So what would you do differently?
Just say it out loud. Describe my morning. Answer a question I just thought of, even if it sounds bad, even if no one's listening.
And you know what happens after a few days of that?
It stops feeling weird.
It stops feeling weird. And then one day someone asks you something in English and the words are already there because you practiced saying them, not just reading them, not just hearing them, saying them.
Before, I was waiting for the right moment to use English. Now, I'm just using it.
That's the whole shift.
Okay, I get the logic. But practically, what does tomorrow look like? Like, where do I actually start?
Start with one trigger, just one. Pick something you already do every morning, coffee, shower, commute, and attach 5 minutes of English to it. That's day 1.
That's it?
That's it. But here's the first trap, and a lot of people fall into this. They have one bad day, skip the trigger, miss the 5 minutes, and then they think the routine is broken.
And they start over. Or they don't.
Right. One missed day means nothing. The routine isn't a streak, it's a direction.
Okay, what's the other one?
Expecting to feel progress too soon. The first 2 weeks feel like nothing is happening, and that feeling makes people quit right before it starts working.
Because the habit hasn't formed yet.
Exactly. Okay, quick test. Tell me 3 things about your day today, in English. Just say them out loud.
I woke up pretty early. I had a long meeting in the morning, and right now I'm talking about English routines, which I did not expect to find this useful.
Perfect. That's the night reflection. 3 sentences about your day before you sleep. And here's what shifts over time. You stop translating from your first language and you start thinking directly in English. That's when it starts to feel natural.
Because you're not converting anymore. The thought just comes in English.
And that's the point where people stop saying, I'm trying to learn English, and start saying, I speak English.
Not a student anymore.
just someone who uses it.
That's the whole identity shift, and it starts with 5 minutes and a cup of coffee.
You know, I came into this thinking the problem with learning English was time. Like, people just don't have enough of it. And I'm leaving thinking the problem was never time. It was design.
Yeah, and that's true for almost anything hard to sustain. The gym, eating better, reading more. It's never really about effort. It's about whether the thing fits into who you already are, or whether it's asking you to become a different person first.
And most routines ask you to become a different person first.
Right, and that's too much. Too much friction, too much pressure, too much waiting for the motivated version of yourself to show up. I remember when I first started teaching ESL, I thought my job was to teach English, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and then I realized that wasn't the hard part. The hard part was helping people see themselves differently, not as someone learning English, as someone who already uses it every day, a little.
Because once you see yourself that way, the behavior follows.
It always does. Silent progress beats loud talent. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a small one that actually runs.
5 minutes and a cup of coffee.
That's how it starts. One more thing before we go. Everything we talked about today, the triggers, the active listening, the speaking practice, that's the daily routine. The Travel with Rachel Survival Guide is where that routine meets real life, real situations, real sentences, the exact moments where people freeze. If you're building the habit here, the guide gives you somewhere to use it.
Seriously, links in the description, first one down there. Worth it. And hey, drop a comment before you go. Tell us, which one of those 3 situations hit closest to home? The big plan that burned out, the background listening, or waiting to feel ready before speaking? I'm genuinely curious which one is most common.
We read all of them.
And if you're not subscribed yet, do that now. Because tomorrow, Rachel's breaking down 3 specific things you can do every morning to improve your English. 3 things only. Super practical.
You're going to want that one.
All right, that's us for today.
Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.